Hi, I'm Kate Brady, and I'm the State Coordinator for the Bushfire Recovery Unit. The Bushfire Recovery Unit started in April following the 2009 Victorian Bushfires. Originally, we had 6 months philanthropic funding, and it was 2 people, myself and Lauren Hackett. Originally, we set out to find out what communities needed that had been affected by the bushfires, and so Lauren and I got in a car and basically drove around for about 3.5 months and spoke with everyone and anyone that we could talk to. We were clocking up about 2,500 Ks a week at that time, and we were doing some meetings very formally and some meetings really informally. After that consultation period, we managed to secure 3 years' worth of funding, and now the recovery unit will be working until June 2012. Our projects so far have focused on communication support, outreach programs, and youth recovery resources, but there's more to come. I'm going to hand you over to the guys in my team, Lauren, Anne, Moya and Luke, to explain some of the work that we do.
Hi, I'm Anne from the Bushfire Recovery Unit. I'm Outreach Project Officer, so that basically involves driving out of town for the second half of every month, coordinating about 214 volunteers to visit people in their homes and businesses in fire-affected areas just to see how they're going. We've been to about 46 towns throughout Victoria, and we've had about 322 referrals for people who've wanted to access services who haven't previously been in the system, so it's been a really great effort. The way outreach works is that volunteers go to the door. Red Cross is a trusted brand, so volunteers have found people tend to open up a lot more with Red Cross. Outreach is really good for getting information out to communities, and it's also really good for enabling agencies to improve their services by talking to people and finding out what's going on. It's been really good being on the ground, working with partner agencies like local government, state government, and for this round of outreach in Toolangi and Costello, we're working with the community house, so directly with communities themselves. Our unit's quite unique in that it's the first time that Red Cross has had a recovery unit. We've got funding for 3 years, so we've really been able to build on the work of Red Cross in terms of short-term response outreach and develop a model that's really good for the longer term. So in the future, hopefully we'll have a package ready to go after a disaster.
I'm Moya, and I'm the Outreach Project Officer with the Bushfire Recovery Unit. My role is to build partnerships, build relationships with the local organisations that support our outreach delivery. So I work with organisations like local government, community groups and committees, and relevant government agencies to support the program. So they work with us to provide local information, to promote the program to residents so that they know our volunteers are coming out. After outreach is done, we continue to work with them for referral purposes and to continue to monitor residents' progress and also to participate in our evaluation. Recovery work is really gratifying. Personally, I've been in recovery for Red Cross only a short time, but with the Victorian Bushfire Authority a little longer, and to see the progress that residents have made, slowly putting their lives back together, that's been a real joy for me.
Hi, I'm Lauren. The focus of my work over the last year and a bit has been youth recovery. We identified pretty quickly that young people are often overlooked in times of crises, and we wanted to address their needs and their concerns. When I say young people, we're talking about people aged between 12 and 25 years old. And we decided to develop some materials that were beneficial in the immediate stages of an emergency, but that could also support people in their long-term recovery journey. To satisfy immediate concerns, we came up with this. It's an MP3 player. It's like an iPod, and it comes preloaded with a radio show. There's 45 minutes of music and interviews and information about some of the common reactions to trauma. We also talk a lot about some coping strategies to help young people help themselves after an emergency, but to also help them look out for their friends and families. The MP3 players are also relevant to a young person in a non-emergency context as well. There's a gig of free space on there There's a USB that they can use to upload their own files or music or whatever. And there's also a radio which kind of links in to our preparedness messages about being informed and staying informed when there's an emergency happening. To support young people affected by emergencies throughout their long-term recovery, we put together a website and some digital stories that are also available on DVD. These stories focus on the recovery principles of self-efficacy, hope, safety, preparedness, and social connectedness. And we're encouraging young people to share their stories so that they might help others who experience something like that in the future.
As a person ever since the cyclone, because I've been less materialistic, my relationship with my family's definitely changed. We're much more close than we were. Just amazing what you can do when you...
So far, the resources have been very well received. We are international award winners and we're very happy about that. The website continues to go from strength to strength. We continue to search for stories from young people in communities that were affected by the fires, but also other hazards.
Hi, my name's Luke. I'm in the Victorian Bushfire team. I work on the Communications Guide project. What that is really about trying to develop a resource for the sector and for people working in recovery about how they can best get information to and from a community. The project came about when we were conducting consultations after the Victorian bushfires last year, and we saw that there was huge amounts of information being poured onto the community, but not all of it was getting through. We knew that information in disasters is incredibly important, not only in that immediate response time, but also in the longer recovery. It is being developed based on domestic and international standards, and we've had consultation with people from experience with disasters all across Australia and internationally as well. One of the things we identified pretty early on in our consultations was that in recovery, the people working on the ground and the people working in the front line and the people actually developing communications, whether it be newsletters or flyers or community town hall meetings, anything like that, very often these people developing these public information resources come from a social work or an emergency management background and don't necessarily have that expertise in communications. So the resource we're developing has very pragmatic and very practical advice for people to follow on the ground, and we're really focusing mostly on the different channels and methods of communications. We don't view it as our role to be telling people what to say, but really more about how best to say it. The other things I do in the team mainly revolve around our monitoring and evaluation of our services. Because we are a new team and we're really the guinea pigs for this this work within Red Cross, was to make sure that we had a pretty rigorous monitoring and evaluation system built in from the get-go, so that we're continuously checking that what we're doing is hitting the mark, and if it's not, then how we can change it, and to just continually make sure that we're hopefully providing the best service we can.